standing here today with a tree because I think that there's a powerful lesson. I want to invite you to look closely at this tree. And we see all these different leaves. And on the surface, as we look at them, all of them look pretty much the same. Sure, some are bigger, some are a little bit different color. Some of them have spots in one spot and not in another. But there's one of these leaves, and look closely and let's see if you can pick out which one, that is different than all of the rest of them. Have you found it yet? Which one is it? Point to it. The one that's different isn't this one, isn't this one, but it's actually this one. For what is it that makes this leaf different? It's not its shape, it's not that it's curling or this or that or whatever. But what is it that makes this leaf different than all the other leaves? These are all still connected to the root. These are all still connected with the branches. These are all still connected to water and dirt and soil and life. But this one has been pulled off, cut off, disconnected. And so if we were to come back in just a few days and look at this one and compare it to all the rest, what would happen? This one would begin to shrivel up, turn brown, and before long, be completely dead. While these branches will continue to grow, continue to be alive and well and healthy. Why? These are connected to the branches. These are connected to life. These are connected to water. These are connected to nutrients. These are still being fed everything that they're given. And as much as I try, I can't keep this leaf alive. In many ways, that's the picture of discipleship that Jesus is giving us today. In John chapter 15, I invite you to hear these words. John chapter 15, beginning with verse 4. Abide in me and I in you, as a branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. Here's what Jesus is saying. We're like a plant. We are created, we are designed to be connected to life. And that life comes not from something inside of us, not from something that we can muster, not from our own strength or understanding or abilities or stick-to-itiveness or our gumption or our energy. Our strength, our life doesn't come from the coffee we drink in the morning or the food that we eat. Our strength, our life comes from Jesus. It comes from living in Jesus. And so the invitation of these words is to abide in Jesus. And I know some people look and go, well, that word abide's kind of funny. It's not a word that we use all the time today. But here's what it means. It means to live, to move, to breathe, to remain in Jesus. To have our very life come from Jesus. Just like this little leaf. As long as it stays connected to the branch. As long as it stays connected to the overall plant, as long as it's watered, as long as it's in the fresh soil, it's going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, and great things are going to happen, and it's going to have life. But the second that it's pulled off, the second that it becomes like this one, you can see it has already begun to shrivel up, curl up, and die. And the same is for us. We are designed to live in Jesus. We are designed to abide in Jesus, to remain in Jesus, to have our life in him. And I think it's easy for us in a world where we look around and go, well, but what about that guy? And we can all think of people who aren't Christians who have had highly successful lives, right? We can all think of people that we look at and go, man, they were successful, they did well for themselves, and they didn't have Jesus. And there's truth. This side of heaven? Sure. But for a life that truly matters, a life built on Jesus, God is going to do stuff in us that we could never do on our own. And that's the picture that Jesus is painting. He's going, I want to do stuff in you and through you and among you that you could never do on your own. And it's only possible when you abide in the vine. Yes, this leaf has life. It was given it by the plant, just like we're all given life by God. But its life is incredibly limited. Its ability to do more than it's done on its own is diminished. But the picture that he's painting as a disciple is that God is calling us to do something far beyond anything that we could ever do on our own. God's calling us to do something beyond our own strength, our own knowledge, our own abilities, that he might bear fruit in us. And that as people see that fruit in us, they can go, wow, Kevin couldn't ever do that. Joe could never do that. Donna could never do that. But God at work in Kevin and Joe and Donna can do more than we could ever do on our own. And so this picture of Jesus is an invitation to abide, an invitation to remain, an invitation to find our life, our joy, our meaning, our purpose, our strength, not in here, but in Jesus.